Hello and welcome to EcoGraf's company update and Q&A session. My name is Larissa Kelly. Today I'm joined by Andrew Spinks, Managing Director, and David Drabble, Chief Geologist and Epanko Site Manager. The purpose of today's session is to provide a high-level update with our latest presentation, followed by responses to questions submitted by our investors. Thank you to everyone who took the time to send these in. We've had a strong response with a number of questions. While we may not be able to cover them all today, we'll carry the rest into our next session. You are also welcome to reach out to us directly via email. With that, I'll now hand over to Andrew to begin today's presentation.
Oh, thanks very much, Larissa, and thanks for your work. I know we were inundated with Q&As, and I know it was a lot of work to pull all those questions together. I'm very much looking forward to the end of the presentation for the Q&A. Very pleased to have David Drabble, our Chief Geologist, join us today, who will step through some of the slides that he presented at the AUSSIEM Critical Minerals Conference here in Perth. And the update, looking forward to providing an update on the Epanko development and our latest announcement on our EcoGraf HF-free purification, where we recently reported industry-leading lowest costs. So let me begin by pointing out the disclaimer. This is available on our website. If you want to read it further, please go to our website to view. As we know, we're a vertically integrated battery anode material supplier. We've got three core developments in play, with a graphite mine in Tanzania looking to commence 73,000 tonnes. Our downstream development that includes now micronizing, mechanical shaping in Tanzania, a value addition, very important, where we're seeing greater support for Europe, and our downstream development, which we're really excited to present and detail more details today around the results. The really exciting time for us is really the integration of this supply. This is the first time in the last 10 years that we've been able to stitch this together in a seamless mine to downstream and provide some support. And we're doing some very nice work on recycling. The project's located in Tanzania, 430 kilometres southwest of Dar es Salaam, the capital, commencing production with 73,000 tonnes of natural flake. We're about to finalise the expansion to 300,000 tonnes. Looking forward to reporting that with our downstream attached to it. That'll provide significant value and show the value of the vertically integrated supply. As we know, we've signed the framework agreement. All the permits are in place with the life of mine special mining license. We've done the front-end engineering, and we're developing this project to meet Equator Principle standards, working with KfW, IPEX Bank, and our partners, ThyssenKrupp and POSCO. An update on activity. We've announced that we've met the positive decision from the preliminary review. We're finalising now the independent engineers report, very, very close to finalising that with the financial model. David's been managing supporting the team on site, finalising the RAP, which is a big part of the program. The independent engineers review is a milestone document. The EU, and particularly the EU site visit around our priority project, is bringing greater interest into the development of Epanko, but also the midstream. And our team is growing, and David has appointed some community liaison officers to commence with the RAP activities. I'll go through this pretty quickly because I think we've got a lot of Q&A coming up, so a lot of questions. Very like to introduce David, who presented at the Critical Minerals AUSSIEM event in Perth, Western Australia. It was quite prestigious to have his paper received and presented for us and the team to showcase the quality of the Epanko project. So with that, I'll hand over to David to step through the next few slides. And I think there's a nice photo of Mount Graphite in the background there, David. I think I took that photo of you that went viral a year ago, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Thank you, Andrew. And yeah, great to join you both today and to step through some of the recent activities that we've been doing here at Epanko. As many of you may be aware, I've been involved for a long time on the technical side with the project out in the field in Tanzania, working with directly with the team out there, leading a lot of the activities there. We've This presented the opportunity for us to put together this paper that I recently presented at the OSIMM conference, focused on the importance of proved material in industrial mineral reserves. So geologically, the high grade geological setting that we've got at Epanko presents us with a lot of our unique advantages, giving us a lot of the high grade material, the large flake size, the high purity. All of these things contribute to the value that we see in graphite as an industrial mineral from the Epanko project. So we've got the largest development ready graphite resource in Africa, but from this we've got the more modest sized 14 million ton ore reserve, of which 82% is of the highest proved category. So it's the unique topographical and geological setting that we have at Epanko that's presented a lot of the positive economic opportunities associated with the project. The topography has delivered a very low strip ratio with 0.3 waste to 1 ton of ore, exceptionally high recoveries, large proportion flake size, and also one of the market leading concentrate grades between 96 and 98% carbon, all of which result in a very high basket price for the product coming out of Epanko. So the crux of the paper that I recently presented at the conference was focused on this research where we looked at 19 major publicly listed graphite deposits spread out globally. Of these, 4 of them didn't have an ore reserve, with the remaining 15 all reporting publicly available ore reserves. Of these, 5 deposits contain 0% proved material, hence not displayed on this chart. But Epanko itself was the only one with greater than 75% of its ore reserve in the proved category, and one of only 2 with greater than 50%. This is important because of the other factors that are taken into account when classifying an ore reserve. It's not just about tons and grade, which is often the main important thing when we're looking at traditional commodities. But when it comes to industrial minerals, it factors in all these modifying factors. So metallurgy, sales and marketing, environment, social, engineering, all of these other aspects, and not just tons and grade. So for graphite, the 2 most important modifying factors come down to metallurgy and sales and marketing, with the flake size and the purity or carbon content being the 2 driving factors for value. If you look at the table on the left-hand side of this slide, you can see that we get an almost 3-fold increase in price between the fine flake and the largest jumbo flake. This is largely to do with the less abundant nature of the larger material, but also the more technical and costly process involved in retaining the large flake through the processing circuit. And then if we move to purity, where it's the carbon grade, but also the importance of the lack of impurities, so the lack of sulfur, silica, and iron are the 3 biggest ones when it comes to graphite. But as you can see from the little chart on the right-hand side here, you get a modest increase in price as the carbon purity goes up to the higher percentages, where Epanko sits in that sort of 96 to 98% bracket. But where the biggest difference is seen is when you fall below that 94% mark into that sort of 90 to 94% carbon purity, you can see a drop off of 30 to 40% in value, and this is largely regarded as a fatal flaw for projects.
No, nicely done, David, and really highlights the value of our Epanko flake with concentrate grades of 90, 95 to 98, giving us that premium. And the hierarchy of graphite is that, higher grade concentrates can displace lower grade concentrates. Therefore, we've seen, the 80% graphite market really be replaced. And I think the 90 to 94 markets are under threat as well. So that's very nicely presented, David, and the technical paper is available on our website with his presentation. I believe it was recorded, and as soon as we get the recording, we'll post it on our website. So that's the natural flake part of the business, the Epanko mine. As we've announced, we're looking to value add the natural flake graphite, shape it in Tanzania. The benefit of that is there's logistic efficiencies and cost benefits of doing that, tapping into the low cost hydro energy that the Nyeri hydropower delivers. We're looking to locate the facility along this transport corridor. And we're starting off with a development of feeding 20,000 tonnes of our natural flake into this facility. It's attracted a lot of interest from the value addition. It satisfies Tanzania's Vision 30 strategy, and it really has been, I think, a significant development for us. We've received sales interest, and we're looking to advance the financing of the facility. We've done extensive test work. We've completed the independent engineering study, a modest capital cost, 58 million, an operating cost of $419. We think that is very competitive. As I mentioned, the European Union support for the development. And we're looking how we can further value addition, the natural graphite as well in Tanzania from the byproduct generated. Coming back to the geology and what David has mentioned, our biggest competitor is China. Heilongjiang is where 75% of the world's reserves come from. And here's a table comparing our beautiful Epanko deposit that David has stepped through, and you can see the concentrate grades are 4 to 5% higher than the Chinese, equivalent Chinese, less impurities to remove, and most importantly, less silica. Silica is the demon. It's an abrasive mineral at a hardness of 8%, having 30-40%, it wears material down, and we get a higher yield because at Epanko, we've only got 10 to 20% silica. And the metamorphic gradient, David, is gobbledygook for heat and pressure. And as we say in Tanzania, the rocks are hotter. And I don't know, David, whether you've got anything more to add on the geology.
No, I think you've captured it pretty well, and that's the key, as you say, that higher metamorphic gradient that we see in the Mozambique belt in Tanzania.
All right, onto our downstream, where we've leveraged off the product qualification facility to deliver this breakthrough cost efficiency. The competitive advantage is really outstanding, and wanted to give more detail around what that means. As we know, we've received our second patent in Australia, the US patent. We've updated the benchmarking and engineering study to give a comparative cost, and we've continue with the customer product qualification to secure binding offtake to support the funding, and we're pursuing grant funding as we've seen, and we're very pleased that we were successful meeting the first step on the US DoD funding for the facility. So the study that was reported in August, beginning of August, outlined an operating cost of $478. That was based on a 25,000 tonne per annum facility in the US. The reason why we chose US is because that's the jurisdiction where we can develop up the cost base for the benchmark comparison. The 25,000 tonne is a modest additional capital, $95 million, and it provides a very attractive financial outcome. As you can see, we're pursuing locations in Europe with a focus on Germany and obviously the US, given the grant funding progress that we've made. This next slide gives a nice comparison of our purification cost against the hydrofluoric acid method, the Chinese method, 34% lower, and the ultra high temperature purification and high temperature chlorination, the three known methods. So the advantage of our purification being low cost, we can locate in these jurisdictions, in the US, in Europe, and be competitive with the Chinese. We're doing a lot of research on the comparison, so we're comforted for our own shareholders that the investment that we're going to make, but to our customers, long-term customers that want a long-term supply of graphite from our Epanko project. So we're very much positioning for the supply of our natural flake graphite from Tanzania. We've got customers for that flake in all the key markets, but we're also looking to mechanically shape it and export it, unpurified spherical graphite, and looking to develop our purification in all the major battery manufacturing hubs. And I think the value proposition that is developed from that, from the mine to the downstream, is enormous, and it gives certainty to the customer of our nice, clean, strong, supported ESG product and meeting the sustainability. And I guess know your client, we call it the EcoGraf way. We're leading and supporting through strong ESG and CSG principles. I won't play the video. I know we've got a lot of questions to get through, Larissa, but I encourage anybody to look at this video. It shows what we've done, co-contributed with Azurite management consultancy in Tanzania, developing the pre-WID, supporting women's in mining leadership, and also the community work that we're doing, which is really above and beyond what's expected. So with that, I think, Larissa, we'll move on to the questions, and look forward to the Q&A questions that we have.
Yes, thank you, Andrew, and thank you, David, for the update. We'll now move to the Q&A session, and let's start with the first one. Why is the KfW process taking so long?
Well, that's a very good question. We have to meet Equator Principles standards, GISTM, the global industry standards, the work operating from Tanzania, the remoteness of the project, the body of the work that we've had to undertake. I think the timeline that's been undertaken has been very similar to others. Be assured that we are making very good progress. The documents are all coming finalised, and it won't be too much longer now to making news on this front. We're about to update the market on our RAP, on the expansion, but certainly the KfW financing underpins the development of the project, and that is a key priority, and everybody's focusing on that. So a little bit more patience, but the reward will be there. Very high quality money supporting graphite into the German industry.
Thank you, Andrew. Next question. Is the Epanko project still on track for financing this calendar year? And is there likely to be a capital raise if the funding for Epanko or other funding is not received soon?
Look, the board and directors are all shareholders. Dilution is not the solution. We've got sufficient funds to develop the project, to the financing. Our focus is on the financing. We're doing everything to bring the financing to completion, and we'll make significant progress over the next couple of months on the financing, and look forward to the news on that.
Is there an update regarding the expert reports required by KfW? When are they expected to be completed? and have any issues arisen during their preparation? If so, how are these being addressed and what impact do they have?
The technical team, the environmental team is supported by leading consultants that have been involved with the project for a very long time. David's been working, as he pointed out, for a long period of time with these consultants. We don't see any hurdles, and we'll make the announcements as they come forward. And I think there will be a sequence of announcements as a result of the completion of the IER that has been compiled.
We'll move to the next question, which still relates to financing. Do you have a plan B if financing falls through with KfW?
We have a plan B, C, and D, but the focus of the company is really the KfW. We don't have any concern or fatal flaws through the due diligence process. So yeah, we're sticking to plan A. We think that's the best place. The market has been challenged. The graphite market has been, we've seen delays on the graphite market. So I think our planned arrangements, production is still at scale, the right scale to the market. So there's no reason from us to move from plan A to plan B. But we are working and thinking about other solutions, but it's certainly plan A is the game plan.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, the next question is, how do you intend to secure financing for the projects in Europe, Asia, and the US?
Oh, that's a very good question. And well done, Larissa. You've I know there was 1,000. I think there was Q&As with 18 lines of 18 questions, multiple questions, and you've summarised that very nicely. Look, the downstream is an important part. It's the end product to the customer. The ability to locate in the battery manufacturing hubs. I think we've stated that we're open to how we finance through partnership, through joint ventures. We're pursuing grant funding, non-dilutive grant funding. We've seen that with the US DoD. I think we're going to see more out of Europe, given the support we've had from the European Commission. Obviously, the relationship we have with KfW. So yeah, that's the strategy for the downstream, and the focus is we can focus on the development of the mine and the midstream in partnership with a joint venture or partner to help develop these purification facilities in the European and US markets.
Thanks, Andrew. The next question. What is likely to occur first? Epanko mine becoming operational or one of the product qualification facilities becoming operational? When will either of these commence?
We think there's a waterfall from the mine to the midstream to the downstream, and the mine will commence. There's no reason why we couldn't, with support and the appropriate funding, to start with the downstream. But I think it makes sense to commence the construction of the mine, and then look at the downstream. We don't have to be producing graphite. I think there'll be an overlap.
The next question, is there a prioritization with regard to the timeline for Epanko and the other projects?
We're going as fast as possible. David is working his team in Tanzania. We've got a great team in Tanzania that's working around the clock and delivering as fast as possible the programs. So yeah, I think that's the timeline. Once we've got the debt financing lined, we'll come out with obviously a construction timetable. We've done that in the past, but doing that now would be preemptive.
Next question, where is the RAP up to?
Oh, as mentioned in the presentation, we're very close to finalising it. It's part of David's work program. So I'll hand over to David to answer that question.
Thanks, Andrew. Currently on site, probably 80% of the efforts from our team out there is on delivering RAP. So it's the major focus for the company at the minute. and obviously very important from our finances perspective. So we're about to deliver the completed, updated RAP report to the local government and also the various national departments that rely on it. And this moment signals us moving from the planning stage of RAP through to the implementation stage. And to help us get ahead on the implementation, we've already commenced some of the early work implementation activities, preparing the community members with national IDs and bank accounts so that they're ready to receive the compensation.
Thank you, David. Our next question is, do you have offtake agreements waiting to be signed if the financing of the Epanko mine is secured? Are you in contact with big offtake firms like electric vehicle producers or big battery producers?
Yes, absolutely. We're working with a range of customers. The focus is on the Epanko mine, where we have offtake with ThyssenKrupp, and we're looking at our downstream, where we're working with a range of customers to support the development of the downstream, which will support the midstream. We've already had a range of sales and arrangements in confidentiality. Unfortunately, we can't disclose those until they're signed, but certainly we've got more interest than supply, which is really positive for our lenders and positive that we haven't got an overcapacity of supply in our downstream and mine arrangements. We've got expansion plans, and we're looking to look to offtake and sales arrangements to support the expansion after the stage one initial 73,000 tonnes of production as well.
Thank you. Similar question. What is happening with the non-binding offtake agreements, i.e. Signoff, Sojitz, ThyssenKrupp and others?
I've mentioned ThyssenKrupp. They've been a long-term supporter of the project. We're working with those other partners under the arrangements we have and others. And as we make material binding arrangements, we will make the appropriate announcements.
Thanks, Andrew. Next question. How long does it take to commission the plant in Tanzania from financing to completion?
From the commissioning of the plant, there's a couple of questions in there. The commissioning of the plant, we expect the engineers and our team estimate that it's about a 3-month ramp up to production, and that's been, I think, demonstrated in other plants. And the construction period is around 22 months.
Regarding our recycling business, is there any update about EcoGraf's collaboration with BASF and Signoff? What is the timeline for both recycling projects?
I think it's fair to say the recycling efforts, the anode recycling, will leverage off the purification achievement, the low cost that will be able to roll into the recycling. We're working with both those partners. We're looking to support anode recycling and battery recycling. Certainly, the delay in the take up of EVs and the delay of this non-China supply chain has delayed the commercialization requirements of anode recycling. But we think that our purification facilities in the battery manufacturing hubs in Europe, Asia on an ex-China basis, and the US will play a really key role on recycling and supporting our partners that we're working with. It's really a really interesting opportunity for the company and helps differentiate us to others as well.
Next question. Are the upcoming elections in Tanzania a potential problem for the future of EcoGraf?
Maybe over to you, David, for some comment.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, the general sort of feeling on the ground is that it's going to be a continuation of what we're seeing at the minute with President Samir retaining power, and if anything, she'll get the opportunity to sort of strengthen her sort of pro sort of global investment approach that she's brought in the last 3 years when she's been in power.
And with gold very much in the spotlight right now, investors were interested in EcoGraf's gold assets. What is happening with Anglo Gold Project, and when will we hear more about that?
Well, I've got graphitis and gold fever, so I might hand over to David to answer that question.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Larissa. So just the other week, when I was in Perth for the Oslo M conference, myself and Andrew, we caught up with Anglo Gold just to provide them an update with how things are going. And they're still very much 100% committed to the agreement. We were just waiting on the granting of the licenses. This has been longer than we expected, and a lot of that has been caused by a backlog of applications at the Mining Commission in Tanzania. There was a big flood of applications across the whole of the country over the past couple of years, and they were caught off guard. They weren't able to process them in time. But we're working very hard with the top management at the Mining Commission and also the Ministry to ensure this is approved in the very near future. And Anglo themselves, they're very excited to get on the ground and commence a very aggressive exploration program at Golden Eagle. And then stepping away from Golden Eagle, some of the other frontier projects that were held under the Energy banner, we've been doing some early works looking at the gold prospectivity there, with some quite exciting results that we're seeing down in some of the projects, including Southern Frontier. We hope that in the near future we might be able to provide a bit of a more sort of concrete update on this. But rest assured that the focus is on graphite, but in our spare time, we're very much pushing to see what opportunities we can pull out of these other lower priority tenements in the form of gold.
No, very nicely put, David. And it's a significant value add to shareholders. We've got a vertically integrated battery anode materials business with a gold project that's being funded by Anglo, one of the largest gold miners in the world, spending $9 million on our property. It's a significant, it could be worth more than what the graphite's worth. And we're going to leverage off that. And, congratulations to, David and the team, pulling this together. It was very opportunistic and, hasn't distracted us from our efforts on graphite.
Next, we have a comment. Thank you for this initiative to allow more interactive communication with investors. I also appreciate the event that was performed for investors in Frankfurt and that a video was shared recapturing the event. What do you think of that, Andrew?
Oh, that's a very nice comment. You don't get too many comments like that in this game, and it's welcomed. Positive feedback is also welcome as much as the negative feedback. Look, our team is working hard around the clock to deliver the outcomes, the desired outcomes. We've got a great team. We've just reported the annual report. I encourage anybody to read through the annual report. It's really a high quality document, summarizes the business from the upstream to the downstream. A lot of pictures of our team working during the year. And it's a great opportunity that we have, and not only for ourselves, but also for the Tanzanian community and Tanzanian government and the industry. We welcome more Q&A questions like that, Larissa. So thank you.
A final question. EcoGraf's share price has gone up 290% this year. What can investors expect next?
Oh, look, that's a very nice question. We are the leading performer in the graphite space. We've increased based on the work. I think the recognition of the upstream, the downstream decision, the results we've delivered. I think there's a lot more value in the company when you look at the peer group. We're at the bottom of the tier 1 valuation. And I think on further announcements on financing of the mine, partnership on the midstream and on the downstream, we will make more progress and value. And we just mentioned the gold. There's a lot of embedded value in EcoGraf, and we're looking to try and extract that as quick as possible. And yeah, the recent rise has been very rewarding for our team to see the progress and the recognition.
Thanks, Andrew. Exciting times ahead. Thank you both for sharing those insights today. That's all we have time for in this session. On behalf of the team, thank you for watching and your continued interest in EcoGraf. We look forward to keeping you updated as we continue to advance our projects.